Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. As you can see by the title, we're going to be taking a look at Jalen Milroe. So I want to do a little deep dive on him. I pulled up the game from this past season with him going up against Georgia. And, you know, everybody talks about Jalen Milroe's ability to run the ball, and everybody talks about his strong arm. So, but I don't think a lot of people gives him credit as a quarterback. So I decided I want to go dive a little deeper and see, is it things that he just needs to sharpen up or polish, or is it just things that he needs to add to his tool belt as a whole? And I think a lot of times with mobile quarterbacks, athletic quarterbacks, you know, a lot of times they're utilized for what they can do in terms of their athleticism. And sometimes it can lead to them not being really fully developed as a quarterback. So that's what I'm trying to see here with this video. So on this play right here, obviously we see the arm strength to get the ball down the field. But it looks like Georgia, you know, they only had a 4-man rush. So, you know, for the most part, like a pretty clean pocket. Like he was pretty aware of that. And he knew, OK, I got time to sit back here and try to let this play develop. He take a shot downfield. Pretty good ball placement. I mean, he put the ball to where only the receiver could get to it, to where the corner couldn't make a play on it. So, you know, I like that decision, you know, to start the game off. So here's another one of those plays. Like I said, when I was doing film study on Cam Ward, I think the difference a lot of times in good and great quarterbacks obviously is decision making and being able to play on script and off script. And here, Jalen Milroe does a very good job at playing off script. So you might say, okay, what does on script mean? On script means that on a play where we're able to get the defensive line blocked up front, so the pocket isn't collapsing. We're giving our quarterback time in the pocket to make decisions, and our receivers are able to separate from man coverage, or they're able to find those soft spots in the zones and sit there and wait for our quarterback to deliver them a pass. Now, every play isn't going to be like that. Some plays you're going to have like this one where where a defensive lineman comes in with a clear hit on the quarterback. But you see Jalen Milroe uses his athleticism to, for one, be able to avoid the sack, but then take a negative and turn it into a positive. So this right here was just a beautiful play call as a whole. And I would say the thing about play calling a lot of times, it's all about timing. You know what I mean? To get the right defense that we want to call this play against, and that's the embodiment of this play right here. So obviously you can tell that Georgia's in man-to-man coverage. You send the guy in motion, the guy follows from the other side of the field. You send a running back in motion, the guy follows from the other side of the field. That's an indicator that it's man-to-man. And they just played it so perfectly with this wheel route, and it's just right. And I would say the defensive back, for the most part, kind of played it as good as he kind of could. But I would say one of the things that made this play happen, honestly, was the ball placement. You know what I mean? Because if that ball is underthrown at you know, by just a small inch, that play doesn't happen because the defensive back is right there. Now, granted, he didn't get his head around to locate the ball because of the timing, obviously, but that was just a perfect ball by Jalen Milroe for him just to walk under the ball and to walk in the end zone for a touchdown. So, man, that was very good ball placement. Like I say, man, it was right there for him. It was right there on the money. It wasn't underthrown. It wasn't overthrown. All the running back had to do was just play the ball in the air, catch it, easy touchdown. So that was a hell of a pass from Jalen Milroe. All right, here on this play, a couple things. For one, at first looking at it initially, I was like, oh, man, he got to catch those that wasn't on Jalen Milroe. But once I went back and looked, that's one of those situations where I always talk about the thin line between good and great. Right. So I think a lot of the times another thing that's a deciding factor of that is ball placement. Right. So we all know about if you're trying to get yards after the catch, a lot of times is all based on ball placement. Right. If I'm able to hit you in stride, it allows you to eat yardage up after the catch. Now, if I throw the ball behind you and you got to kind of break your stride, readjust to it, now it takes away from the opportunities to get yards after the catch now because it allows the defense to potentially catch up on you. So with this play right here, my thing is, as a quarterback, you want to try to protect your receiver, right? You want to try to take him out of harm's way. So I would say a thing that any quarterback could do is communicate to his guys and say, hey, man, based off of how I put this ball, that lets you know X, Y, and Z. So if I put this ball out in front of you or in a position to where you can catch and run, you have that option. Now, if I put this ball kind of behind you or kind of low, it's letting you know, hey, man, when I catch this, I need to catch, look it in, tuck it, and brace for a hit because it's coming. So even on this play right here, as soon as Jalen Milroe throw the ball, as soon as he throw the ball to him, it's behind him, obviously. So as soon as he adjusts to the ball and turn around, the defense is right there. So he really doesn't ever really have time to secure the catch because the defender is right there as soon as he catch it. So that was one of those things right there. Like I said, that's that fine line between good and great, is being able to put the ball in the right place for your receiver to be able to make a play, but then also be able to protect your receiver so things like this don't happen. And, you know, obviously this is the red area. You don't want to turn the ball over down here. When you get to the red area, you want to be able to, you know, capitalize on those opportunities, because a lot of the times red area is a deciding factor in games won and lost. Now, this is another one of those situations where I say the difference between good and great is ball placement. So we all know that Jalen Milroe has a big arm. That's not the question, is his arm strength. Now, this is another example kind of similar to the previous play before, where the ball placement kind of took away from what could have been. So the previous play where I said we was talking about the ball placement in the red area where the interception ended up taking place, him putting the ball kind of behind the tight end, he having to try to adjust to it. And as soon as he turned around, the defense is right there. He gets nailed. Now the ball's tipped up in the air. That's an interception. Now you look on this play right here. Obviously, this play didn't end in an interception, but this play really should have ended in a touchdown, because obviously you've seen that Ryan Williams kind of had a step on him. Him underthrowing the ball, it allowed for the DB to actually have a possibility to make a play on it. Now, granted, you know, that shows the testament to Ryan Williams' ball skills to be able to, you know, make the adjustment after, you know, thinking that the defensive back tipped the ball or hit it down. He was able to, he had coordination to be able to get his eyes back on the ball and be able to reel it in. But like I say, once again, this is the difference between good and great. The ball placement right there, that was supposed to have been a touchdown. So once again, we have that fine line in between what makes good and great quarterbacks, and that's decision making. So right here on this play, this could have turned out to be much worse than what it was. See, I'm an advocate for taking sacks because I think that it's a time and it's a place and it's a situation. So you have to understand the down and the distance in this situation right here. You guys are up 33-21 and it's third down. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, we take this sack on this play. We gain our yards back from punting the ball. We try to pin them and we try to make them drive the length of the field. We rely on our defense. And that's when you have to understand when to be a playmaker and when to be a game manager. And I think that's the difference between great and good quarterbacks as well. They know how to walk that line between being a game changer when needed and being a game manager. So on this play right here, if the cornerback played this play as good as you can play. So if he drives down on this ball, that's a pick six, right? And even if he don't get the pick six, that's still an interception, and it puts them in prime real estate in terms of field positioning. So you got to understand that down in the distance, it's third down. We take the sack. We get it. We gain that yardage back from punting the ball. Now, you are like I said, you have to look at the upside. You know, you have to think about, okay, what's the upside? If I complete this, it's a tackle anyway, and it might even be somewhat short. If you know, that would have been a first down. But you got to think about it. If I complete this, what is it? A first down? Yeah. If I don't, that's a possible pick six, interception, and it puts us in a bad position, and it puts our defense in a bad position. But if I just say, man, you know what? It's nothing there. Take this punt. You know, take this sack, punt the ball, make them drive the length of the field, and it takes some of the pressure off of our defense. So I didn't even bother to put the Ryan Williams touchdown in here. I mean, honestly, I think that had more so to do with Ryan Williams just making the play than it necessarily had to kind of do with Jalen Milroe. But this came after the Ryan Williams play. They was trying to put a nail in the coffin with this 2-point conversion. And look at what you've seen on this play, him underthrowing the receiver again. That possibly, I've seen that he does have the tendency to underthrow receivers. And I know some people might say, okay, well, I know on one of them, it was like, I think it might have been like a first down conversion. And he threw the ball and it was like in the vicinity of two defenders and it was kind of behind them. And most people might say, well, he was trying to protect them. And I was like, yeah, but at the same time, you don't want to make a catch more difficult than what it already is by putting it, too low. So, and that seems like a tendency I've seen from him more so than overthrowing, just kind of undershooting guys. You know what I mean? Kind of similar to this play right here. So if I had to kind of say I would think that what Jalen Milroe has to kind of work on is, for one, accuracy and ball placement. You know what I mean? Like I say, accuracy and ball placement can be a deciding factor of how effective a play can actually be. If you can put the ball where it needs to be for the receiver to catch it and run out the catch, that's always good. So I would say accuracy, ball placement. I would say kind of just pocket presence too. I feel like that whenever he kind of gets put on the ropes, he relies more so on his athleticism, which most mobile quarterbacks do. Whenever you kind of put him on the ropes, whenever you kind of put pressure on him, a lot of the times, opposed to standing tall in the pocket and making those passes that's necessary, they roll out the pocket and put themselves in a worse predicament. Because like I say, once you roll out the pocket, you need to really have an idea of what it is that you want to do. Because when you roll out the pocket, you limit yourself to one side of the field, and you don't a cardinal sin is to throw back across your body. It might work from time to time in college, but in the NFL, 9 times out of 10, that's not going to result in a good play. The guys is a lot smarter, guys are a lot more athletic, so you can't get away with those things right there. But those are a few things that I would say that he probably has to work on. But I think that if he goes to the right team, get with the right system, with the right offensive coordinator, the right coach, I think that those are things that can be developed. He got the competitive aspect, and then obviously, he has the arm strength, and we know what he can do with his legs. So, it's potential there. It just has to be properly developed. But, man, that is it for this video. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, and you enjoyed this video, or if you've been watching my videos and you haven't already, man, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure that notification bell is turned on. That way you'll get all of my uploads, and I'll see y'all in the next video.